Hello and welcome. I'm Jennifer Douglas, and this is the How to Relieve Physical Pain Using Emotional Freedom Technique workshop. I am so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to share this technique with you. I'm a holistic health practitioner and a clinical certified emotional freedom technique practitioner. And if you don't know what that is, that's okay. We'll get into the technique in just a moment. Before we get started, I'd like to make sure that you have your handout downloaded and that you have some kind of writing utensil handy. Preferably, you'll be handwriting your responses, although it's fine if you want to look at the handout on your screen. But I always think handwriting gives you some better options in terms of recording and reflecting on what you're doing. You're also going to want some water to have throughout the workshop so that you can keep hydrating and help to process the emotion that we'll be working through today. Before we get started with emotional freedom technique, I always like to do a centering and grounding exercise because we're all coming in from the stress, the craziness of our days, and it helps to bring us together into a centered space and to prepare ourselves for the kind of work that we'll be doing in this workshop today. So if that sounds good to you, let's start off by putting your hands on your heart, or maybe one hand on your heart and the other on your stomach, whatever feels comfortable for you. And go ahead and close your eyes if that's comfortable as well. Let's start off by taking a really nice deep breath. So we come into this space today. We're coming with curiosity about what we're going to explore. We're coming with openness to ideas that might be new. And we want to come into this space ready and prepared for transformation. Let's keep lengthening your breath. Long, slow in-breath, and long, slow out-breath. As your breathing slows, also be aware of holding tension in your jaw. Intentionally relax your jaw right now. Even wiggle it around a little bit. Release the tension in your jaw. And then consciously relax your tongue away from the roof of your mouth and let it come down gently into the bottom of your mouth. As we go through our time, every once in a while, be aware if you can relax your jaw and relax your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Now imagine you're sending a beam of light and love out from your heart to a person or a place that you really love. Picture that person or place and send the beam of love out from your heart imagining that beam illuminating them. Allow yourself a nice deep breath. And then imagine that beam of love and light coming back toward you and coming into your heart, filling your whole body with light. Feel that golden light all through your body and all around you. And as we come into our time together, we intend that everything we're doing here is for your highest good. And so it is. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the room. Now, before we launch into some practice of emotional freedom technique, I'd love to give you a little background so you understand what the technique is and where it's coming from and what it's actually doing. So, emotional freedom technique, also called EFT for short, or tapping, is a mind-body technique. And these are the kind of techniques that I practice because our mind and body and spirit are all integrated together. They're not really separate things. They're all part of us as human beings, as part of one integrated person. And when you think about it, we know that our emotions and our mind impact our bodies every day. When we're feeling upset or anxious or angry, we know what happens in our bodies. We can't sleep. We wake up at night with racing thoughts. We get headaches sometimes. We might get stomach aches or upset stomach. We just feel bad when our emotions are at that heightened state. So we know instinctively that our emotional and physical health is connected in certain ways. And in the medical realm, they actually refer to it sometimes with this very long term, the psycho, neuro, immuno, endocrine system. They just mash all those systems together into one term. And that's because our emotions and our mind have such a large cascading impact on the nervous system, and then on the immune system, and on the endocrine system, which is our hormones, that all of these areas of our bodies are very much interconnected, and they act in concert with each other all of the time, especially when we're under stress and dealing with the emotions of our daily lives. There are two books that I would really recommend that if you haven't read, that you take a look at, because they go into great depth about the mind-body connection and why it's important. The first of these is The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. And the second of them is When the Body Says No by Dr. Gabor Mate. Both of these books cite decades of medical research showing how much our emotions, our mental state, our minds play into our physical health, and specifically with serious illness. So I definitely recommend those books as a foundation if you're looking to learn more about the mind-body connection. So let's talk a little bit about EFT in particular and how it builds on the mind-body connection. Well, EFT is really specifically built on helping our body's nervous system to regulate. And when the nervous system regulates, it then in turn works with the endocrine system to regulate our hormones and with the immune system to boost our immune response. The way that it does that is actually working with our body's electrical and electromagnetic energy. So this may get slightly esoteric for just a minute, but hang on with me. So our bodies are basically like big batteries, all the way down to the level of our cells. Each of our cells has an electrical charge, a polarity to it. Our bones actually create electricity when they're breaking down and rebuilding again. And our organs, like our heart and our brain, have very strong electromagnetic fields. So when you go to get an EKG, that's measuring the electrical field of the heart. And scans like the MRI scan or the PET scan can measure the electrical activity in the brain. And we know that we have these different types of brain waves. If you've read about sleep and you know we go through REM sleep and delta sleep, we have different kinds of brain waves in our brains all the time. So it's not surprising to us that our bodies are kind of like an electrical battery. And what's even more amazing is that even the connective tissue that runs under our skin, which is called our fascia, is now known to be a liquid crystalline structure that's actually an electrical semiconductor. So it conducts electrical signals through the body much faster than our nerve impulses do. In fact, nearly instantaneously. So this is important because EFT uses a system that is known in traditional Chinese medicine as the meridian system. If you've been to an acupuncturist, acupuncturists work with meridians. Meridians are electrical energy pathways on the body. Similar to the way that we have blood vessels, arteries, and veins for our circulatory system, and we have lymphatic vessels that carry lymph fluid that support our immune system, we have meridians, also sometimes called the primovascular system, that are like electrical circuits that run along our bodies, and the specific points on them, the acupuncture points, have been shown to conduct electricity at a much higher rate than the points around them. And they do that, it is believed, because they're tapping into the fascia, which again is an electrical semiconductor. So what we do in EFT is we physically tap on specific acupuncture points that activate the nervous system while we're thinking and talking about an emotional or physical stressor. And by physically tapping on these points, we are simultaneously signaling to our nervous system that we are safe, we are not in danger, we can come out of the fight, flight, freeze response, and we can actually reprogram our neural pathways around that stressor. And when we do that, when we bring the body out of the fight, flight, freeze response, we can then bring it back into our rest and repair mode, the parasympathetic nervous system. So fight, flight, freeze is our sympathetic nervous system that's trying to protect us from danger. It's sending us into survival mode. You know the drill. It's trying to keep us from being killed in the moment, whether that stressor is something physical, like a car is coming at you, or something much less tangible, like you're going for a doctor's visit and you don't know what the doctor is going to say. So EFT combines physically tapping on acupuncture points with speaking about a stressor, emotional or physical, so that we can send those instantaneous electrical signals to the nervous system and we can change our neural pathways. It is astounding. EFT has been clinically studied and supported in scientific peer-reviewed journals for reducing pain, for reducing anxiety, for reducing depression, and for physical impacts like lowering our cortisol levels, which is very important for bringing the body out of a chronic stress response, and even for reducing the symptoms of chemotherapy and radiation, like nausea and brain fog and fatigue. So we're going to work with EFT today around physical pain specifically. And what we'll do is I'll introduce to you these tapping points, and then I'm going to take you through a series of exercises where you'll be writing some things down on your handout, and then we're going to do some tapping sequences together so that you can get the hang of how to apply this for yourself in your daily life. So let's talk about those tapping points that we're going to use today. And you'll be following along with me, so don't feel like you have to memorize them right out of the gate here. So we always start by tapping on the side of the hand below the pinky finger. This is often called the karate chop point because this is where you would chop. And this is a point that's on small intestine meridian, which has to do with our decision making, our discernment, how the small intestine sorts and removes nutrients from food and helps us get our correct balance. The small intestine meridian also has to do with discernment and decision making. Then we go to the top of the head, which is a point on governing meridian that has to do with standing in our power, our self-confidence, having our back, being able to stand up tall in ourselves. Then we come to the inside corner of the eyebrow right here. This is on bladder meridian. Bladder has a lot to do with fear versus self-courage. If we've been living in fear or shock, this is a good point to relieve that. Then we come to the outside of the eye, right where you feel the bone on the outer edge of the eye. And this is a point on triple warmer meridian. Triple warmer is our main fight, flight, freeze response. So these points help to tell triple warmer directly that we're not in danger and that we can release that stress. And then we come under the eye, again, right where you feel the bone at the edge of the eye socket. This is on stomach meridian. Stomach is about our worry and our sense of compassion or over compassion, sometimes over giving to other people. When you think about how our stomach manipulates that food and makes it move around, get it jumbled up so that it can go into the small intestine, when we worry, we're literally ruminating like that, and we're over ruminating. Then we come below the nose, above the upper lip. This again is on governing meridian and is about really standing in our power, having our back, our sense of our self-strength. Then we come to the middle of the chin. This is on central meridian. This is the key energy highway up the front of the body. And this has a lot to do as well with our sense of confidence, with our sense of self-esteem, with our sense of our own personal will and power. Then you're going to find the edge of your collarbone and you're going to come just under it. This is the top of kidney meridian. Kidney has a lot of associations, but it also has quite strongly to do with fear and shame versus the courage to move forward in our lives. And then lastly, we come under our arms around the chest level. If it's easier, you can cross your arms. And this is on spleen meridian, which is how we metabolize and process our emotions and what comes into our bodies. And as you probably know, the spleen is very instrumental in the immune system response. So anytime we need to metabolize or process or strengthen the immune system, tapping on the spleen meridian points is a very powerful way to do so. So these are the tapping points that we use in sequence, and we'll be tapping on them as we talk about what we're experiencing and what we're feeling. So the first thing I'd like you to do as we consider physical pain is to notice what physical pain you're feeling right now and where in your body is that pain. Now I'd like you to go into a little more detail in describing what that pain feels like. So is it a sharp pain, a dull pain, a stabbing pain, a throbbing pain? And then even further than that, if you had to describe your pain as an image of sorts, would you say that pain has a color or texture or a shape like an object? So maybe it's a red ball of fire type of pain, or maybe it's a black, oozy tar type of pain, or maybe it's a yellow dagger type of pain. So take a moment, you can pause the video if you need, and give your pain a description so that you can really hone in on what it is that you're feeling. When you've done that, now I'd like you to rate the intensity of your pain right now on a scale from 0 to 10. This is your subjective scale, so 0 is nothing at all. 10 is your maximum. So write down your rating as it is right now with the pain. And now we want to explore the emotions around the pain a little bit more. So when you're in pain, there's generally a lot of emotions around that. And let's be honest about them. With tapping, the very first thing we do is always to start where we are. So this is not about trying to pretend that you feel better than you are or trying to put on a brave face. We want to know exactly how you're feeling right now. So if that's sad, disappointed, angry, furious, frustrated, guilty, whatever it is you feel about the pain, go ahead and write down your emotions around the pain. And when you've done that, give each emotion an intensity rating from 0 to 10, with 0 being, I don't really feel it at all, to 10 being, this is my maximum feeling intensity at the moment. So go ahead and write down your rating for each of the emotions you identified. And I'm going to take a sip of water. I invite you to do the same. So now we're going to do some tapping on that physical sensation and on the emotions that you represented. So you're going to be repeating phrases after me, but when I leave space, I want you to fill in the specific description that you wrote down of your pain. So if you said it's a red ball of fire in your stomach, then when I leave space for that, I want you to say red ball of fire in my stomach. And with the emotions that you identified, make sure that you say out loud the strongest one. And I'll try to cover several emotions, but if you don't hear the word that resonates with you, you say that word out loud. Fill in the blanks to make this the most powerful for you that you can. So we always start off tapping on the side of the hand, and you're going to repeat these phrases after me and fill in your own details as we go. Let's do it. Even though I have this pain, I accept myself right now. Even though I have this pain, I accept how I feel. Even though I have this pain, I have compassion for myself. This pain, 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 this pain in my body. I feel it in my body. It feels so strong to me. And I have feelings about it. It makes me so sad, so disappointed, so frustrated, so helpless, so angry. I'm so angry at this pain. So angry for it being there. So angry that it disrupts my life. So angry at it. Even angry at my body for having this pain. And I'm scared. What if it doesn't go away? What if I keep having this pain? What if it follows me? What if it keeps being as bad? I don't know if it will get better. It makes me mad. I can't control this. It feels so out of control. I feel helpless. This pain, this pain, this pain, this pain, this pain, this pain, this pain. I wonder if I could let go of some of my feelings around the pain. I wonder if I could let go of some of that anger and sadness. I wonder if I could let go of some of that frustration and grief. I choose to believe that my body is helping me. My body is sending me a signal. My body is trying to help. I have compassion for myself, for how hard my body is trying. I'm open to accepting myself and my body right now, even with this pain. Let's pause, take a moment, have some water, and let's step back and see how you feel. Tune into that physical sensation of pain. Has it changed at all? Is it different in intensity than it was before? Does the sensation feel different? Sometimes it even migrates around a little bit to a different part of your body as you're going through this process. Just notice how strong it is right now and re-rate the intensity on your 0 to 10 scale. Now tune into the emotions that you wrote down before and re-rate those as well. How strong are those on the 0 to 10 scale right now? Now you may have noticed that some emotions came down while others seemed to go up because maybe that tapping sequence brought you into noticing an emotion that you weren't noticing as much before, and that's okay. So you may still have some of that pain remaining. Let's do a little tapping on that, and then we'll move on and work through a slightly different exercise. So follow along with me, and remember, add your own words in, the location description of that pain, and the emotions you're feeling so that this really resonates for you. Even though I still have some of this pain, I accept myself completely. Even though I still have some of this pain, I honor what I am going through. Even though I still have some of this pain, I accept myself here and now. I still have some of this pain. It hasn't gone away completely yet, but I'm open to letting it go. I'm open to feeling safe letting it go. I'm choosing to allow it to go. I'm choosing to see if my body can release it. I'm open to seeing what happens. I'm thankful for my body and all it does. And I acknowledge my feelings. This is really hard. This is a grueling experience. This is so stressful. And it's no wonder that I'm in pain, because I'm under so much stress. And I don't feel good in my emotions. And I don't feel good in my body. But I'm open to letting it go, to seeing if I can release these emotions, to seeing if I can let go of some more of this pain, to seeing what happens, to allowing my body to do its work, and thanking my body for being so good to me, and having compassion for myself for going through this experience. And let's pause there. Again, take a sip of water. And check in again with your physical feeling and see, did that move anything further? And if it's still not completely gone, that's okay. Sometimes we have a lot of layers that we need to work through in order to get to the root of what's really happening. So have compassion for yourself as we go, and let's take this in a slightly different direction now. Sometimes with pain, some of the emotions around it have to do with how it's interfering in our lives and what it's preventing us from doing. So let's take a moment and write down with the handout, what is the pain preventing you from doing? So maybe it's spending more time with your family, maybe it's exercising or taking nice walks outside or gardening. Maybe it's just enjoying daily life. Maybe it's you can't eat properly because of the pain. So write down what it is the pain is preventing you from doing. And then write down the emotions that are associated with that. So when you think about the pain preventing you from doing these things, how does that make you feel? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you indignant? Are you furious? Are you ashamed or guilty that you can't do these things? And give those emotions a rating from 0 to 10. 0 is not at all, and 10 is your maximum intensity. And we're going to do a round of tapping here on what the pain is preventing you from doing, just to get at another aspect that often impacts our overall emotions around what it is we're experiencing. So as we go, once more, when I talk about what the pain is preventing you from doing, name something out loud that you've written down. Make it your own so that this is personal to you. And also make sure you name your emotions out loud. If I don't say the right word, then bring in the word that resonates the most with you. So let's start tapping on the side of the hand. Even though this pain is preventing me from doing things, I accept myself here and now. Even though this pain is preventing me from doing things, I accept my feelings. Even though this pain is preventing me from doing things, I accept how I feel. This pain preventing me from doing things. I can't live my life. This pain is in the way. It's in the way of what I do. I can't even do normal things. I can't do things I enjoy. I can't do the things that make me happy. I can't spend time with my family the way I want to. And I'm so pissed off. I'm pissed off at this pain because it's stopping my life. It's just in the way. And I'm so angry. I'm so frustrated right now. And I'm so sad. I can't even spend time with people I love. How am I supposed to live like this? This isn't fun at all. This is the opposite of fun. This totally stinks. And I don't like it. And I don't want it to be this way. And I just can't take it anymore. It's so frustrating to me. And I don't know if it will end. I don't know when I can go back to doing things I love. Will I ever go back to doing things I love? Maybe the pain will go on forever. Maybe it won't ever stop. Doesn't that sound wonderful? And it pisses me off. It makes me so mad. And so sad. I have compassion for what I feel. I have compassion for myself. For everything I'm going through. It's not my fault. I'm doing the best I can. My body's trying to heal. And it's really hard. I didn't know it would be this hard. I choose to accept myself now. Even with this pain, I choose to believe my body's working hard. I know my family supports me. I know everyone is rooting for me. I'm open to receiving their support without feeling guilty if I can't do things. I choose to give myself a big mental hug. Give myself the support I need. Not beat myself up over this, because that's not helping. Allow myself the time and space I need to go through this healing process. Let's stop with that. Whew, if you feel like you need to shake it off a little bit, if it's intense, just shake it off, brush it off your hands. Sometimes there's a big shift there. So let's go back and Relook at those emotions that you had around what the pain is preventing you from doing. And let's re-rate those emotions now. So if you're like me, you just went through a whole range of emotions, but let's see where you're standing right now. And if some of those emotions are still there, that's okay. They probably need a little more work and a little more time to process. And so we want to give yourself some grace for that. Because what happened over a long period of time may take a little bit to unwind. So let's do one more type of exercise here. Let's take a drink of water. Let's talk about what happened around the time that the pain started. So for some of you, there might be a specific event that's really the origin of the pain. Maybe you've had surgery or you've had chemo or radiation, and there's something specific related to the physical treatment that is the origin of the pain. And for some of you, maybe it's a little less specific, but think back to around the time when this pain really started and notice if there are any events in your life that come to mind that were happening around that time that were more stressful or that were emotionally taxing for you that may be kind of in the background here. So I'd like you to think about that event. And we're going to do a technique here where we give the event a title, like a movie title. So give it something short that you can repeat and remember, and you're going to write that title down. I'm sure you can write a good movie or book title. And we're going to do some tapping here using that title. So let's hone in on that event for a moment. And when you think about that event and you think about the title, what emotions are coming up for you around that event? So write down those emotions and give those emotions a rating from 0 to 10. Give yourself a little bit of time to really sink in and think about it. Maybe you haven't really thought about that event in this way. So if you need to pause the video here, pause and make sure you have a title and make sure that you've written down your emotions and given them a rating. And we're going to do a tapping exercise where we tap using that title. So every time I say this title, I would like you to say your title out loud. And again, when I say emotions, if something's not resonating for you or you have a different emotion that I haven't said, please say it out loud during the sequence because that will help you make it much more powerful. All right, let's start tapping on the side of the hand. And repeat after me, putting in your own title. Even though I have this title, I deeply accept myself. Even though I have this title, I'm open to loving myself now. Even though I have this title, I accept what I'm feeling. This title. 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 It was such a difficult event. Such a hard event. So difficult for me. So much stress around this event. So much pain around this event. So much pain I'm holding on to. I didn't even realize I was holding on to it. So much pain in the background. Pain that I've been holding on to. Maybe it's time to let it go. Maybe I can let some of this pain go. All my emotions around this event. The fear, terror, uncertainty, helplessness, anger, sadness, grief. What my family is going through. Is it my fault? It feels like my fault. Everything around this event. This title. This title. This title. This title. I've been carrying this event. I've held the burden. I'm carrying the weight of it. I feel it in my body. There's so much pain. And maybe it's okay to release it now. Maybe I don't have to carry this burden alone. Maybe it's not all my burden. Maybe it's okay to let it go. Maybe I can forgive myself. Maybe I can forgive others. I choose to let go as much as I can. As much as I am able to right now. I choose to allow myself some relief. I choose to allow myself a different way. I choose to allow myself to release this pain, to release this grief, to release this anger, to release this sadness, to release this shame. I'm open to accepting and loving myself just as I am, and knowing that I am always doing the best I can, and that's enough. I am enough. I am enough right now. I am always enough. I don't have to prove it. I am enough as I am. And so it is. Oh, take a deep breath. Shake it off, brush it off. Know that you have done incredibly deep and transformative work here, and that you may continue to feel these emotions process. So take a moment and look back at your title and re-rate the emotions that you have with the title. Notice what changes have occurred and reflect on what has shifted or changed for you in working through this process. And know that when you have a very important event like that, you may need to approach it a couple of different ways. There might be a specific detail about that event, something you saw, something you heard, some specific words, a sound, a smell. there may be something you need to go into in a little more detail to fully clear that event. And that is the next step you can take. Reuse this tapping sequence, but instead of the title, use the specific detail that's most impactful for you in working through it. Before we go today, I want to say thank you for joining me. I hope this has been helpful and transformative for you.